that crew. And how do I know? Because it happened to me. That is why I'm standing here talking right now. I reached a certain level in that station. I was the only producer to ever come as a new kid and create a multi-million-dollar revenue generating show. I was the only producer in there that artists would come and be like, oh, I need D. Brad to do my show. Or that actually helped create an image for artists. So it reached a certain point where now it's time for them to introduce me to the inner workings of this monster that's created. And that's why nowadays we see people caught up on secret societies, but ain't no secret if everybody's talking about it. And everybody talk about the Skull and Bones, A, B, C, and D, because that's old news. You feel what I'm saying? What's happened is it was passed down to to everyone in the urban industry. So now you have a rapper who will get turned out by a high-ranking label exec because, well, what you gonna do? I mean, if I want to be a rapper and I walk in the label exec tells me that this is what I need to do for him because, hey, he put my album on when I really wasn't that talented. But they pushed me because they saw that I was something that they could sell. So you bring me in a room and there's my favorite rapper right there who's in the same room, so that must mean he must have committed the same gay act as I did. So at the end of the day, depending on where your level is within yourself, you go do it. And it's easy for those of us to sit back and say you wouldn't do it. But the majority of us, and I know it's going to be kind of harsh, but the majority of us will never fulfill our dreams. So we'll never be in a position to say what we would or would not do. You understand what I'm saying? We'll never be in that position. Because before I got there, I would say the same thing until I got there. You understand? So I literally lived the devil taking me to the mountain and saying, you can go to the left, you have all of this. And I was there. It was ritualistically done. The vice president sent his right-hand man to me 3 straight weekends. They do everything in threes. 3 weekends in a row. Hey, D. Brad, let's go hang out. And every weekend, he kept beating me in the head. Get rid of this Rap City, man. You can do more than Rap City, D. Brad. You can do more than you need to come with us. Then the 3rd night, it was the vice president's birthday. They picked me up in a long white stretch limo. We go to Joe's Uptown, up in the Bronx in New York. We go to Joe, we hang in the VIP. Get me everything I want. Then every time we hung out, it was the same way. Then they bring me to the back room. And in the back room, they had this long table with a white sheet set out. I mean, beautiful thing. Looked like the damn Last Supper. On one end is Derek Jeter, there's Stephon Marbury, there's Fat Joe, and I'm chilling. But the whole night, the vice president is on me like this. I'm trying to talk to the model chick. She's like, nah, D. Brad, come on, sit right here. So then we party, but I'm not a drinker. So if I don't get unnecessary spirits inside of me, we get inside the limo. He drops his right-hand man off quickly. We're in the car, the man standing in the car looking at me like I owe him something now. And I know the look because when I was young, I had the same look for women that I took out. So I know the look, and I know the energy. And while he's doing that, he's sitting there with his legs spread open, rubbing his balls. Now, I'm in a situation where I'm like, no, what am I going to do? This is my vice president, this is my boss. But the problem is, I was just raised differently. You understand what I'm saying? I was brought up differently. So for me, I had to turn that away. But with the hell that I caught after that, this is why I don't come down on those who perform and sell out, because everybody ain't built for this war. Everybody's not built for that. I've been homeless. I've had my legs destroyed. You know, I've had to fuck my head up when I've been dead ass broke. He ain't seen me for like a year because I wasn't coming home when I was broke like that. I was ashamed of myself. I went from being a man to nothing because I would not cross over. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I want to get out the way in the beginning, because we come down hard on people. But if you've never been there, I went from making $100,000 a year with no kids to making nothing. You understand? To working minimum wage jobs. So the reality of it all is tough. And we are in a psychological war. And that's what television is. That's the weapon of mass destruction. It's television. And everyone knows that. Why? Because where did we get the term weapon of mass destruction from? Television. So like my man said, really the reality of it is, I'm going to drop it at this because I love listening to Black Dot, so I'm being selfish, y'all. But the reality of it all is this. As a television producer who was Dave Chappelle's stand-in, which means I did his rehearsals, season 1 and 2 of Chappelle Show, I saw what happened to Dave. Dave used to give me advice all the time. And one of the key things he told me was, no matter how much money they offer you, and he said they, as he pointed in my chest, he said, never forget who you are or where you come from. And he walked away from me. And I didn't get it at the time until the nigga left. Then I said, oh. And him and Charlie Murphy would tell me the same things all the time. And then I got that. This is a war. And these cats are sorcerers. And we need to take it. I know the words magic and sorcery takes people to make you think that I'm talking about the Eastwick Chronicles or Harry Potter, but this is real. because it's affecting our babies. So when they see all these signs visually that say 75% of the new HIV cases in New York are blacks and Latinos, it gives them the impression that everybody black and Latino is HIV positive, had AIDS. And I tell people all the time, I'm 35, I ain't never been to an AIDS funeral. So right there, that statistic has to drop. And I don't even know nobody in the last 10 years that's been to an AIDS funeral in my personal life. So according to the statistics, we all should be dead. Should nobody be sitting here? You understand? I had a young sister trying to force me this AIDS. I said, yo, you work for the council, let me ask you a question. How old are you? She said, I'm 24. I said, when's the last AIDS funeral you been to? She was like, oh, I've never been to one. I said, what the hell are you handing me this flyer for? You understand? So this is all, it's wordplay. That's why I love how my man brought it in, because it's the truth. And he makes my job easier because I ain't got to talk a whole lot. But this is sorcery. So the bottom line is, people don't call you a hater. They don't say, oh, you always playing devil's advocate. But I'm suggesting everything you see on television and you read and you hear on that radio, hate on it. And the purpose of knowing about Jay-Z and a lot of these rap artists and the secret societies is not really to obsess over it. Because the magical way to dead all of that is to ignore it. It doesn't exist. Like I was saying, to me, pigs, cops don't exist. Because when I see a pig, I see a person. I don't see a cop. And that's if I even look at it. I've done crazy stuff in front of cops in New York and walk right on past them while I should get someone else. Because they don't exist. So therefore, that's how you counteract the magic. You understand? And then one last point I want to make, that one of the biggest things black folks need to realize too, I think it's past the age to keep looking at the white boy. What's holding black people back is there's a small group of black people in America that have all the money, they have all the power. I don't mean that are rich, I'm talking about the wealthy. There's a big difference. They have all the money and the power that control everything. That starts when it hits the black community. And then Carter Boulay and brother Steve Coakley is where I got a lot of my research from, and as well as my brother Bobby Hemmett and daggone, I forget my man's name who wrote it, and say his name for me. There we go, my man too. Yeah, and understand, it ain't just. And now it's going, and a lot of it started, I think it was May 1st, 1904, I think, was the first, what is it called, whatever, look it up, Sigma, whatever, exactly, and exactly, and they send it to this day, and I think W.E.B. Du Bois brought a lot on it when he had his talented 10th theory, because he was adamantly against what Marcus Garvey was talking about. When Marcus was like, let's get about it and go back to Africa. You know, so what happens is in this day and age, we have a new kind of Boule. Because even a lot of these Boule members that were in control went to Ivy League schools. Well, I'm going to hit you with this. The CEO of BET and the vice president that I had my running both graduated from Brown University. So that said it all. When I found that, I said, well, damn, no wonder. You understand? And the Boule ain't really just all about those people that have a lot of money. Or the educated blacks. Like, in my humble opinion, I say someone like Frank Lucas, now looking in the camera, like Frank Lucas, who they made this American Gangster film, is Boule. Why? Because there's a difference between Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas. Nicky Barnes really actually sold drugs in the context of what the drug dealer would do. I go to the house in Miami and I meet with Pablo, or I'm on the corner in the back of some building. Meanwhile, Frank Lucas sat in a building with probably no windows with 3 white boys talking about what they were going to bring into this country. Big difference. And that is what hinders us a lot. So every time Bill Cosby gets up and says something negative about black folks, Boule. Every time Oprah Winfrey says, oh, I'm going to open up a school in South Africa, and these kids in Chicago are crazy, Boule. You understand what I'm saying? With all of this stuff we need to look into. Politics as well. Barack Obama is damn related to Dick Cheney, which is crazy because I say to black people, I'm like, so what? Which is amazing to me. So I'm not really into politics, but I'm into WWE wrestling, which is pretty much the same thing. Batista, Undertaker, you know, Clinton, Barack Obama, it's all the same thing. So the reality of it is that whatever's being given, hate on it. I encourage people in 2008 to hate